Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I am with John Fitch, as always, for Mixed Martial Mindset, where we talk MMA and a whole lot of other stuff. Mr. Fitch, how was your Mother's Day weekend?
Was good. I am in California. Mom's in Indiana, so I didn't get to see her, but I got to go to the kids' flag football games on Sunday. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I think there was a Karen, somebody complained because the kids
It's gonna make me mad.
Yeah, the mask thing. So the kids had the option of when they were on the field playing, they had the option of removing the mask. You know, they were recommended to keep it on, but they could take it off if they wanted to. So none of the kids had on, so whatever. But this week, strictly everybody had a mask on the field, which was somebody complained. The parents were walking around with them a little bit better on. But for the most part, when people sat in their groups, there was no mask. They didn't even have it out. But yeah, it's still
it's nuts.
California.
Yeah, so I mean, I had an amazing weekend. We did the MMA fights.
The barbecue.
What's that?
Your barbecue in the park?
Yeah, we did, and then we did the Mother's Day barbecue. It was the maskless Mother's Day barbecue. So for those that don't know the deal, we have a thing called People for Picnics, and I'm encouraging anybody that's a person for picnics, like myself, to have a picnic. It's pretty simple. Anybody can do it. You get together, and I was with a lot of concerned people, both in Illinois and in Iowa. And what's been going on Sundays there are two hockey rinks. I live streamed from there, right? Now, the two hockey rinks were absolutely full. The kids' hockey games were going. Normally, there's now softball, adult softball all over the place, too. So I thought it would be good on Mother's Day to at least have this picnic and say, hey, we don't need to be at July 4th. We don't need a card. We don't need to check on anybody's vaccination status. We'll just serve food, So I dropped a few $100. We got everybody together. The kids were playing together. No masks, John. It was great. In fact, I don't want to put kids on blast here, but I think that, one of the things we wanted to do was that, we wanted to show people that, everybody could have a good time and not be worried about it. And that's what we did. There's my sister playing.
Spikes.
I know. There's my sister. And here's the thing. Unless you actually care, I am having a good time. I've never met that young man before. Kids drawing on it's just normal. They're playing baseball. There was cornhole. That's cool. Sarah, who's also a local journalist here with her family. Just so many people came out, nobody fearing. And then, the cooking was free, so we had people come over from those games and sports and just served them up and just talked to them like human beings. We didn't ask them to vote a certain way. We, and if they did get vaccinated, we weren't scared of them. They weren't scared of us. It's nuts, right? Mm-hmm. And perception versus reality, man. And this was much later. It was just nice to do, right? It was a good thing to do, and I think we need more people for picnics. We're going to keep doing it.
Well, I had a group meetup with my Smash Society. I have a Patreon group called Smash Society, and we had a little meetup. Shot some arrows outside. Didn't have to wear masks. It was nice.
Hey, I'll tell you what, buddy. You need to get with Spawn, Nick Spawn. And by the way, again, you have past interaction through Purdue. He's trying to get Militich to do this thing called Feral Man, where and I told him about you and how you're all into that, because he's all into the NLP and the building yourself up and the life coaching and stuff like that, and goes to the Tony Robbins seminars. And I was like, oh, you need to talk to Fitch. He's like, and we're going to go out into the woods. And it's... it's one of those deals. And I'm like, yeah, you got to get it going. Look, all those things.
There's a number of groups that kind of do that kind of stuff. There's a writer, Jack Donovan. I talked to him. He was on my show once. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of Viking, ritualistic stuff out in the woods and sacrifices, goat sacrifices.
I don't know if I need to get into the goat sacrificing realm, but definitely I wouldn't mind the actual ritual, if you will.
Well, he's not a goof. He's doing it
I know,
trying to tap into the old energy or whatever.
I know. Listen,
it's intense. I've never been to one, but I don't know.
It's I don't want to go as far back as like that, the
Little
pagan
time
type, but
capsule
definitely
type
Native
thing.
Americans, especially in this country, did have rituals when they would take another animal's life and then serve it amongst other people. So if you do believe in that sort of thing, like Fauci believes that we're never going to take the masks off, and we're going to get there. I could see.
Just one big conspiracy from ugly people. I think that's what it is. The ugly people got together.
It's worse than that, John, but we can't
The
talk about that here.
Illuminati. The
So
Illuminati.
look, here's the. Have you seen my Illuminati thing yet? You're gonna love that. Let's get the plugs out of the way before we really get going. And by the way, guys, get the Rockfin account, right? Over 16,000 followers over here. Eventually, this show is going to go to the Rockfin because there's a bunch of videos and stories that I can't cover on YouTube because we'll get in trouble. The full audio version, however, after the fact, will be available at thegruelingtruth.com, and you can find everything out about John Fitch, including John Fitch Knows Nothing, which I tuned into last night, and your new 12-minute bicycle trainer over at johnfitch.net. Tell them about that.
Yes, I have the 12-minute bike cardio programs. It's it. 12 minutes, 1 to 3 times a week. Unfat yourself. It's available on Gumroad. If you're on the email list, go to johnfish.net. You're on the email list. You can we'll give you a secret code to get a 10% discount. But yeah, it's our 30-minute fight cardio workout, kind of compressed into a more palatable workout for average people, but it's still miles above most other workouts you're gonna get.
And one of my favorite stories that you were telling yesterday in your John Fitch Knows Nothing was when you were talking about how, man, I need some kind of an exercise bike, and this dude brings out something that's like 50 years old, made to last, doesn't have anything digital going on, just the dials, and you're like, it was perfect. It did exactly what it needed to do.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, man. That was funny because he had all this state-of-the-art cardio equipment and stuff in this gym and 3 pools. And I was like, where's my Aerodyne bike? You said you had Aerodyne bikes. So he says, all right. He couldn't believe that after he showed me all this stuff that I was like, where's the Aerodyne bike? So he has this old one at home that he's had for 50 years, probably was his dad's or something. Wheels it in all. It was taken care of, though. It wasn't like rusty, and the dials still worked. So I couldn't complain.
So
it's like the RPM thing was one of those dials.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, it would go up like
yeah.
It's like an old school. If you have like one of those
and it was gold, man. I called it Goldie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great bike.
Goldie. I like how you named it. And obviously Goldie is gender neutral. So it could be a guy or a girl, but I would imagine it was a her, wasn't it, John? It was a her.
She was a bitch. It's a love-hate. It's a love-hate thing.
All right. So we got 2 things we're going to kick it off with. I know you want to talk about the Diego Sanchez getting fired from the UFC, shots fired by... It's so funny because I didn't know about that story. And as I'm... As I'm calling the fights on Friday night with Jens Pulver pulls out his phone and he pulls out a video of Diego Sanchez and his partner and this guru guy. And the guy's upside down on his legs, topless, covering his head. And Diego Sanchez is using him as a punching bag. He's like punching him everywhere. This guy's just like crawling.
Kind of it's a weird situation. I don't know. Diego's always kind of an out there, and then he's found another person who is manipulative and out there too, it seems.
So why do you just all right, let's get into it. Why do you just I know I'm gonna try to find that video. Why do you describe to the audience the situation we have and the specific lady friends and matchmakers that may or may not have had some kind of a sexual relationship?
Well, I mean, there's always been allegations about, the higher ups in the ring girls and stuff. But from what I heard or was reading, that they were saying that there were actual fighters who may have been hooking up with people in the brass. I don't know if they're talking about male or female. Probably female, but still, I don't think it's too outlandish to think that Dana may have been hooking up with some of the stars.
So you don't think that it's much of a conspiracy theory, John? So for those that don't know what the coach looks like of Diego Sanchez, or maybe Diego Sanchez himself,
is Diego hanging upside down?
That's Diego hanging upside down. Okay, I might have been wrong. It may just be Diego getting beat up upside down by his coach. Basically, is what we're about to see. Now, I'm going to bet dollars to donuts John Fitch has never trained in this manner. I don't think that you've ever hung upside down and let a man strike you with leg kicks unanswered. Have you, John?
I mean, this is I don't know. I mean, it's somebody it's a star who's fading a little bit. Maybe he's missing that attention, so he's doing crazier shit to get the attention that he used to. I don't know, man.
It's a little bit whack-tacky. I
mean, it could just be genius
marketing,
promotion. Yeah, marketing to get hits. You know, maybe they're laughing at everybody about it. Maybe it's some high-level Andy Kaufman shit right here. Maybe he's playing all of us. Maybe, it's all pro wrestling, right? So maybe we're the mark right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we got it confused.
All right, so here's the deal. I'm gonna bring this Fauci clip up. See if we can cue it exactly up. Probably not, because I'm terrible at this.
But the last thing with that Diego thing is, again, these guys, they've had plenty of opportunities to say something or speak up or fight back or do whatever before, but they keep their mouth shut until they lose leverage and look like they're in a bad position, and everything they say is not really taken seriously.
I got to agree with you there, especially with Diego, right? Like, look, there's eccentric and then there's Diego Sanchez, especially in the MMA world, right? I mean, for those that don't know. All right, for what you came to see, guys, and thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, we're only going to be able to play this video. I'm going to give you a preview of some of the other stories that me and John are going to hit, and some of them are pretty heavy. Have you been seeing what's going on in Israel, for instance?
Yeah, there have been some rockets firing, and I'm seeing, like I have Muslim friends and I have Israeli friends, so I'm seeing like on the timeline different perspectives of things going on, and it's a shit show.
Well, I mean, the Temple Mount is on fire. That's that's massive.
People throwing rocks, and I saw a video from inside a mosque where they're throwing rocks and having gas and stuff shot at them, and then I see on the other side the rockets being shot. In the defense forces like shooting them down.
Pretty wild stuff. So here we go. Fauci is going to tell you, hey, maybe the masks are here to stay. And this is also Fauci letting you know that the masks got rid of the flu for the first time ever. So remember, guys, we've had a flu vaccine that's roughly 50% or less effective on average across the board for decade after decade after decade that they've encouraged on you. But somehow cloth masks and paper masks ended the flu throughout the world, according to Anthony Fauci. And maybe because of that, people are just gonna want to wear them all the time, John.
Okay, let's get to mask wearing, because this is where, at what point can we stop wearing masks outside? At what point, if vaccinated people get together, do you take the masks off? And are we but is the mask going to be something we have with us in a seasonal aspect?
Never. That's quite possible. I think people have gotten used to the fact that wearing masks, clearly, if you look at the data, diminishes respiratory diseases. We've had practically a non-existent flu season this year merely because people were doing the kinds of public health things that...
Go ahead. No. Rip into him, John.
No, yeah. This is the scam. Like they talk about, the data clearly shows. What data? Where? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Let's bring it back, because again,
can you source that, please, for us, Mr. Fauci?
He literally
source us the data.
I want to explain this again to people. They're
telling
you.
They say, the data shows, and it's settled, and they don't ever present it, and they don't ever talk about it, and you're not allowed to discuss it. And if you want to discuss it or ask it or question it, you're a science denier.
Yeah. And that's why, again, Make
Child
that free
games,
Rockfin
man.
account so we can get juicier on the other side. We got juicy stories we need to talk about. But again, he's telling you for the first time, not just in your lifetime. I want you to think about this, folks. Whether you're watching this and you're a young buck that just caught Jason Burmis in your mid-20s, you're like, this is kind of interesting. Or you're in your 60s, your grandma. We have that audience here. What year did the flu disappear? Go. Go. And then, what year did the flu disappear for your grandparents and their grandparents? I'm going to tell you when. Never. That's not a thing. People have gotten sick throughout history. The flu and other viruses clearly correlate with seasons where you get less vitamin D and sunlight and you are physically less active because of weather, right? It's clear, and we can't even talk about that and how your immune system degrades, but old Fauci here is going to tell you it's the masks, and that's why the flu disappeared.
Magical masks.
Not because things that were the flu got reclassified as another thing, John. But let's not go there. That's a little bit conspiracy theory, Burmis.
Respiratory disease. You know, that's quite possible. I think people have gotten used to the fact that wearing masks clearly, if you look at the data, diminishes respiratory diseases. We've had practically a non-existent flu season this year merely because people were doing the kinds of public health things that were directed predominantly against COVID-19. The Australians during their winter, same thing. They had almost no flu, largely due to the kinds of things, including mask wearing. So it is conceivable that as we go on a year or two or more from now, that during certain seasonal periods, when you have respiratory-borne viruses like the flu, people might actually elect to wear masks to diminish the likelihood that you'll spread these respiratory-borne
Haven't they been wearing
diseases.
masks for a long time in Asia? The flu still exists in Asia. They didn't do crap in Asia.
So weird.
So what happened with the magical mask now? Masks only work on white nations or something? Western
Well,
nations?
I'm so glad you said something about white people because, unfortunately, some of this madness, I think it's right here. Yeah. No. Sorry. These are some of the stories we're going to do later on. But this, tell me I have this one. Tell me I don't have this one. Basically, you know, I don't think I have this one. We're gonna have to do it live. Let's bring it up. Twitter. Basically, the mayor of Calgary, John, has declared that anti-lockdown protests. What do you think? What do you think they're really about?
Oh, is it white supremacy now?
Oh,
wow.
John Fitch, bingo,
Unbelievable.
badongo. Let's just
You
go
don't
to the
like
tweet.
the lockdowns. You are a white supremacist now.
Listen,
Holy
John,
Jesus.
let's get to it. We're right here. Let's read the tweet. Calgary, or Global Calgary, those people at those anti-mask protests, let's not kid ourselves, John. They're not people who are protesting because they need to eat, John. No, they're not. They are people who are marching in thinly veiled white nationalist, supremacist, anti-government protests, the mayor of Calgary said. Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Fitch?
That's just what the. You gotta be telling people. Are people not waking up yet? When are people gonna realize that this is just all fuckery? It's the worst.
Let me talk about something real quick. So,
Just
one of these meetings I've gone to in the past couple weeks is on the Illinois side. Now, it's a 5-minute drive from my home. I get on a bridge. I go over the Mississippi River. There's a place called Moline, Illinois. Okay, part of the Quad Cities here, guys. And on this side, on the Iowa side, things are open. You can't get a seat at Texas Roadhouse. No one has to wear a mask. Hooters is open. You don't have to wear a mask. I was at a place called the Barrel House, open, packed. You don't have to wear a mask. You get the picture. Now, the meeting is at a place called Chimmy's. Anybody can check out Chimmy's, authentic Mexican restaurant. Now, Chimmy's is a family-owned business where actually a young man in the family has taken initiative. He's a video editor on top of helping with this very real business. They own the building. He's got a whole floor on this, John. Very impressive young man. In fact, this group is responsible for getting a new mayor elected in the county. Okay, they got a new county mayor elected. He actually put together a commercial that he shot for her, and he does commercials for local businesses as well. Now, our last meeting, unfortunately, he was there, but he had to work with his sister because they can't afford staff, John, because on a Thursday night, okay, from 7 to 9 when we had our meeting, which had about 20 people in it, okay, besides us, in a place that could easily seat 75 to 100 people and has a dance floor and a bar for another 20, had 8 customers on a Thursday night from 7 to 9. And this motherfucker wants to tell me it's about fucking white supremacy? Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you come down to Chimmy's this Thursday night, Mayor of Calgary, and you can talk to these people, Adrian and his family, okay, about how they're white nationalists, and if they would protest the lockdowns that are gutting their business. I'm sure it'll be a great conversation.
They have an FBI task force investigating them.
Bro. So here's the deal, guys. We've been going for 21.
Biden squad busting white supremacists.
The CIA. They want the CIA. Like
dress them in pink.
Listen, we played that CIA madness last week, didn't we? I think we did that, right?
Nuts. That's nuts.
It was nuts.
And like to tell you guys, there are no conservatives. There are no Republicans. They were gone 30 years ago, at least. Like nobody's spoken up to say anything.
Listen,
nobody's disagreeing with it.
Any idea of like
they're gone.
Justice in the Republican Party was gone really the day that Reagan conceded that he would take Bush as his vice president, and then old school style, because it was the Times and there wasn't a million websites where people could communicate. Because I guarantee you, when Reagan got shot, if the internet was the same way it was in 2012 or 2016, there's no way people wouldn't have been like, wait a minute, wait, Neil Bush was supposed to have dinner the next night with the guy who shot Reagan's brother? whoa. No, not the Hinckley family. Like, people would have, like, pissed themselves. The moment Reagan got shot was the end of any kind of hope that way. And I think that with Trump, the establishment didn't want to go assassination because Trump had embraced things like WikiLeaks, and they had framed it as quote-unquote conspiracy theories, right? And they also knew he was a pretty compromised guy. They also knew he had an Epstein relationship. He was banging hookers and eating Big Macs everywhere. He probably has illegitimate kids they didn't even out yet. I mean, that's my guess. That
there's Epstein connections with Bill Gates, and there's rumors that was Melinda Gates has been looking to be divorcing him for a while, and that was one of the main reasons.
Well, let's talk about that. You know what? Let's talk about that on YouTube, because before we talk about that, I do want to give everybody a taste, because make that Rockfin account, because we're going to be playing a video that's safe and effective. Can't play that here. I'm telling you right now. When you watch this video, everything's safe and effective, okay? In a room full of people, don't worry. This is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Probably not going to be able to say what I want to say about that here on... I mean, I think it's pretty disgusting what's happening there. You got a military force, and now unrest there is going wild. And you know what they've already done to the Israeli people. We can play this. Whitney Webb, this is a dude, pretty powerful, Blackstone. This is kind of what's to come when we're building back better.
Uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. Markets like actually totalitarian governments where you have a understanding of what's out there, and obviously the whole dimension is changing now with, as you said, a democratization of countries, and democracies are very messy, as we know in the United States. You have opinions changing back and forth.
So just so you understand, Larry Fink, Blackstone, think vaccine passports, think totalitarianism, think somebody that's taking advantage of the system right now. Then we're going to show this piece of filth talking about freedom in Canada as they arrest this pastor in the streets for daring to have his services in Canada. Full police state. So, guys, I also want to say that we're going to give the latest update on what's going on in Elmhurst after those court injunctions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can't talk about that here. We're going to talk about these young girls that were suspended over not being on campus and living their own lives and taking photos with one another off campus and not having masks on. We're also going to talk about, well, you know what? Why don't you just read the headline and I won't on YouTube, because that's where we're going to end it. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, make the free Rockfin account. 155 watching on YouTube. Let's get 100 thumbs up. Make the account. Sorry, guys. I don't even think I should read that title here on YouTube. But we're also going to talk about Vax Live on the other side, too. You know, the Bill Gates thing, I guess you're just going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait and come to Rockfin because we're going to start there. See you, YouTube. All right. So it actually intertwines.